My name is Monica Gleberman, and you're listening to Silence on Set podcast. On today's podcast, we're speaking to Nile Bullock, who's on Freeform's summer hit series, Cruel Summer. Cruel Summer follows the rise and fall of an intense teenage friendship. Approaching the story from 3 different timelines surrounding Y2K, the season's twists and turns as it tracks early friendship between Megan, Isabella, and Megan's best friend Luke, the love triangle that blossomed, and the mystery that would impact their lives going forward. So to talk about his character Jeff, here is Nile Bullock. Okay, so I'm so excited to have you on here.
I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my
Thank
gosh,
you.
I'm so happy because I haven't gotten to see you to talk about Cruel Summer. So obviously I have you on here for that. So welcome. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
So I guess talk to me first about initially how you got involved with Cruel Summer, how it came kind of to your desk.
So Cruel Summer really kind of just started off just like any other, random open call that I went out for. I got the audition and I did not know anything about the show, like not a single fact, absolutely no information, like at all. I had seen it buzzing around my TV as far as, the trailers for the first season were concerned. But I was really much, I was really in the dark. So when I auditioned for season 2, I was pretty much going in with a completely open mind. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't really get the chance to binge the first season before the audition process, either. So
Wow.
I was in there dry as hell. I was a fish on dry land, and all I had was, the sides that I had from for the second season, and a little bit of research that I did, like, beforehand. And yeah, I kind of went in for it, not really expecting that much. That's the thing, any actor, actress could tell you when them auditions are just going, because they come and go. You land some, and other ones you do, and then you might forget about, and then it's just like, okay, what's next? But this one, I just remember reading it and really feeling comfortable with the material, and also just feeling a lot of relativity to the character Jeff in the material. And that was something that really caught me right away, because as an actor, I've taken on a lot of different roles and different personalities that I'm not super used to, or might push me a little bit out of my comfort zone. But Jeff just felt super, super relevant to what I was going through in my life at the time. And also it was just such a mysterious script, and I really like that. So that's how I got in that. And then God said, "Hey, you want to like try this out?" And I ended up booking the role of Jeff, and now we here. So yeah, I dove straight into the first season. After that, I was hooked. Like I was fucking hooked. Like that show really went crazy. And I'm not the type, like I really binge watch shows super scattered. Like I'm not always up with the new stuff that comes out, because I got a million different things going on. Like, I'll be making music, I'll be auditioning, I'll be teaching dance on the side. I got a lot of different lives that I'd be living. So when I did get the chance to dive into season 1, I was hooked. It was so freaking good. And it just made me that much more excited to be a part of the second season. And now we're here. So
Just
yeah.
crazy. And I have to say, for anyone that's listening to this and not watching it, you have the coolest light behind you, by the way. That's going, it's like the lights are just going off. And I was like, he must do
My
music,
baby.
because I feel like musicians
Yeah.
always have like sweet setup. So
Right.
it's very nice behind you.
Thank you. Thank you. My Galaxy lights, man. These help me through a lot. Shout out to the Galaxy lights. Yeah.
Love that. I know we need sponsorship for Galaxy Lights.
Yeah, for real. For real. They need to talk to me too. Good prices. I got this thing for like $40. Like what?
It looks really cool. It looks really nice.
My
Um,
friend.
no, but I think that's so cool. Because I saw you, I think one of the first things I saw you in was Power Book.
Oh wow.
And I think you were in like 2 episodes of that. And
Yeah.
I saw you there. So when Cruel, and you were, by the way, you were fantastic. They should have had you in way more episodes of that show.
I wish they
You were so good on that show. But I loved Derek. Uh
thank you.
he was so fun to watch and like see the stuff that
Fun to
on
play.
that show.
Really fun to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super cool. And I love the D Wiz. I just loved all of it. I loved all of it. But anyway, but when I saw you on Cruel Summer, I was super excited because I was like, oh my gosh, I know him from that show. So I was excited to see what you were going to do with it. And you're right, this is such a different character for you. And from other things that I've seen you in, Matter, there was The Subject, like there's a bunch of stuff I've seen you in. This was very different. So when you read it and you said like you felt good about it, it was different for you at reading it. Who was Jeff to you when you read it? And who did he become as you started filming it?
That's a really good question. Well, quite honestly, from the jump, kind of like going off of what I was saying with the first question, I think it's safe to say that I saw a lot of me in Jeff. Like I saw Jeff kind of as this, him being this, if you're watching this show and you now gotten to know Jeff, Jeff is like the quiet boy who goes to 100 as he keep watching the show, and him also kind of being this in this weird line in between introvert and extrovert, and like the quiet shy one, but also the one who wants to be involved with everything that's going on, and it's sort of like in the middle of the group. That was a huge reflection of my life and kind of me, even when it came to friend bases and finding my clique, and in the place where I felt like I belonged and finding my people, but also kind of living this life that was like, behind the curtain, that just instantly clicked with me and Jeff, because even me being an actor, that's another thing, to compare to Jeff with this huge inspiration to make films and being obsessed with, horror films and wanting to be a director one day. Me being an actor, like that's me, like right off the bat, me kind of living this private, not so private, private / public life of being an actor, but also, hanging with kids from my town, who are just more home base sometimes, and just, and I have like a lot of the people in my friend base are musicians and people involved in the arts as well. But I remember going through high school and kind of like trying to fit into certain friend groups and like being the person that like was cool with everybody, but also like, okay, I gotta keep my shit safe. I gotta keep myself intact, and also just being the one like observant, being the observant one. That instantly clicked with Jeff. But also as we continue shooting the season, and also a lot of people don't know too that we were writing these episodes as the show was being shot. So a lot of us didn't even know what to expect, until we got the script, so we were kind of in the dark, and I didn't know what roller coaster my character was going to go down, so and for those watching season 2, you see every character go through super dramatic changes, and one with Jeff specifically. So as I watched those layers build, that's when Jeff kind of turned into something else for me, and that's when that extra push and challenge I feel like came in for me, because we see Jeff kind of turn into a little bit of rebellious, like he bites a little bit, and that also was a huge I really liked being able to play into that, because that was another thing. We all have that side, as us just being humans, that side that's, if we're a bit more on the chill side or just more of the calm and collective. So many people can also think like, oh yeah, they're never bound to get angry or like, bound to pop off. And you're like, yeah, sure, keep saying that. So I feel like you see that too with Jeff, definitely, as the season goes on. And that's when it became more of like somebody, I don't really pop off like that. I get angry, but despite how I'm feeling on certain situations, I have a filter where I don't always let my true colors show, depending on, how I am. I can be filtered with that. But being able to bring that out and play with that in the layers and the character shows, just that people are human, and I love to play into that. And we experience so many different emotions, and we're not always good or always bad. It's yin and yang, so that was really fun to play into with Jeff.
Yeah, and like, it's so funny that you should say that, because I loved it because he is the observer, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is the one kind of stepping back, and he's watching everyone, he's videotaping everything, which makes him kind of the smartest one, in my opinion, as a character, because he's watching what everyone's doing. And what I thought was also cool is, although yes, it's not you actually filming, what was cool is when they do switch it to like the video portion of it, it made your character bigger, because your character was the most important, because we're seeing the tapes, we're seeing things that he quote like filmed, right, of all of these people.
You're absolutely right.
there's time jumps, right, on the show. This is what it's famous for. These jumps in between, different days of 3 different years. And for this one, they did 2 years and 2 separate years, but 3 days. It's so crazy.
It's a lot.
When you watch it. It sounds crazy, but it makes sense when you watch it.
Right.
But what I thought was so interesting for Jeff was there wasn't a major look change necessarily for him, but there was a tonal change. So like when you see him like I think it's 99, right? When you see him like back in the July day, those days, and he's filming and recording, he's kind of quiet. He's going through the motions. He's having some fun with his friends. He's kind of into this girl, all the things that we do, right? And then when we see him like a year later, he's upset. Like, and he's angry and something happened. Yeah. Like you're like,
last straw,
something happened.
Something happens, and it's to the point where he's like willing to let people know in public. If y'all watched episode 3, then you know what's going on. Jeff makes a big push to pull up on people in public and be like, yo, you did this to me. And he also suspects that there is a lie being told. Right. So and that was something that was super. I just love playing. At one point, it's so funny because there was a part of me, with the roles that I've been playing, where I didn't always like to play the villainous side of the character. I love playing villains. I don't care. I just love it because it's therapy. Because again, like that's a trait that I have. There's been so many positions too, like where I've dealt with girls or been in sort of situations where like, I had a crush on somebody and somebody sort of toyed with me, and then like another person came along and it was just like, all right, fuck you, I'm going with this person. And I'm over here like, the fuck, what did you, why, what did you think this is? And there's always that part of you sometimes that's like, okay, I'm gonna show him, I'm gonna get that get back, but there's also me being the person that I am. I would never let that blow up in somebody's face. But Jeff, it's a whole different situation. So that was really fun that was a challenge, but it was also really fun to bring that to life, especially with that tonal shift. And another fun fact, you actually brought it up too. I actually did get to tape a lot of the scenes that you saw me do with the B-roll. So shout out to production for letting me do that too. I think episode 3, the whole little meeting with Megan, I got to do a couple takes of that. With me holding the camera. So that was super fun and just made that even more fun with the layers and bringing Jeff to life,
Yeah, it extends your character so much because we're seeing it almost through your eyes in a way whenever they show those clips. But the tonal change is what is so interesting to me. Like, and this is why I get so fascinated with acting because it's so drastic and you guys film out of order. You're filming 3 different days in each episode, right? So that's through the course of whatever your filming days are. So if you're filming a show and one episode, let's say you're filming a 6-day schedule or a 7-day schedule, in that one episode, you're doing 3 different days where you're jumping in 3 different times and keeping track of all of this in your brain, and you're filming out of order. So for you, how do you maintain that tonal change? Because I'm sure there were days where you did maybe scenes from where you were like the nice and quiet guy, and then scenes where you're not. And then, so how do you keep track of all of that? And how do you process that as an actor? Because you're shifting so much. I mean, like, I don't know, it blows my mind. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, it was, I feel like this series most definitely was the biggest challenge for me so far in finding those shifts in the tonality, because just like you said, it would be days where we're shooting party scenes to, drama, like interrogation, police rooms and stuff like that. And especially for Sadie and Lexi's characters, they were going through it. It was like so many mood swings in a freaking day, but I think it's also safe to say as an actor, that's very much my reality. Like if every 5 minutes, I'll be like, damn, today is great. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, where's my next job coming from? And I'm like, fuck, like, so, and also just me being an artist, I'm like, literally, I am doing so many different things, at once. Like, I make music, I'm a musician. So one day I'll be down here making beats or writing lyrics. And then I'm also a dancer, so like, I'll also be freestyling and stuff, and I could do all of this like in one sitting and I also have ADD, so that makes it very easy for me to be running all over the place and just not knowing to put my focus. But I feel like this season actually really disciplined me where it came to focus and zeroing in on just the tone with so many different changes, the drastic changes, like you said, we had, and I just put a lot of trust in myself and in the cast. The cast made it really easy too, because we were all in it together, and I meditated a lot, and I drew inspiration from watching my castmates too. We had some really powerhouse actors who had to be he to straight tears like in the next scene. It's like I'd be looking at them like, how the hell do you do that? Like that's insane to me. That's still places where I'm doing work, when it comes to techniques. So it was really a lot of inspiration I was able to take in, that I was able to apply to my own work throughout the series. And I feel like I just put a lot of trust in myself, trust in the directors, trust in the crew, and shout out to the directors too. Everybody just really got surgical with us and made sure that we delivered our best performances. So I feel like that played a big part in just finding the rhythm in between, those time periods and different scenes. Even though it was a roller coaster, it definitely really did push the heck out of a lot of us. But that's what acting is about, So that felt great to be a part of that and have that extra push.
Well, for me, I think that you did an extra great job at it because, and I'm not knocking anyone because listen, everybody did a great job on that show, but I think it helps when you look different, right? And the girls had very drastic looks. So it was very apparent, like you knew right away where we were. For your character, not as much. You just looked a little older. I think they made you try to look like a little bit older. But it wasn't like you didn't go gothic. I mean, like it wasn't like a drastic thing.
I would have loved to have done that because I don't know if y'all can see how I am.
Yeah, you had black nail polish. Yeah, no, it would have been so cool if you looked like this. That would have been so cool.
No, that would have been great. I also love how Vince in the first season had the dreads and the twists, in between the different seasons. That was super cool. I did want to bring that to the hair department at one point. Like, hey, maybe but we kept it with the box cut. We were keeping it Fresh Prince,
but for me, that just mentions like even more to you of how much of a good actor you are, because I feel like it's easier. And again, not knocking anyone. I love everybody on the show, and I'm not saying anybody had an easy job, but I do think that it helps to have that tool to be able to go, okay, I'm wearing my gothic outfit. This is where she is. This is what the character. So to kind of be like, all right, well, you're not holding a camera now. That's me. You look a little older and you're pissed. Go. Like I feel like that's a lot harder to kind of like flip back and forth. So what I find the most interesting though is I think from what you're at least kind of explaining, it sounds like because your life is so similar and you're balancing so many things at once that you were able to do that, and you have that skill without needing the wardrobe and all of the extra to get you there.
Yeah, most definitely.
That is amazing that you can do that.
It was definitely something that, and it's funny, I didn't even realize that as much throughout the shooting process until I looked back, and that's another thing where I asked myself, where do I, especially for like, pending stuff coming in the future, where is it that I pull from, because you can go to class, you can get the technique, you can learn from so many different people, but there's always a play, an anchor that I feel like we have as, especially with actors and actresses, where we pull from a specific spot, depending on the roles that we're taking on. And I think it just made sense, like in the rhythm of like, especially with the speed of this show in general, just living so many different lives. Like the cast member could tell you too, like during breaks in the set, I was on set with my laptop and a MIDI keyboard making beats and stuff like that. Like I could literally not sit still, but I feel like it was definitely a huge tool in building that character. So most definitely, yeah.
So obviously, it's been out, so we could talk about it. So he goes on a little bit of a transition over time. So let's talk about the ending and where we end with him. So what has happened to him? So what has happened over the course of that 1 year, basically, from when we meet him to the cameras like literally attached to him and he's an observer, to being more of a presence and an involved in what's going on. I'll put it that way.
Right.
So talk to me about that.
I can't give too much away because a lot of this is going to be explained in the next episode coming up too, as far as what secrets and what has pushed Jeff to this point. But yeah, for one, Jeff has definitely been a lot more present with his feelings for Megan. That's one thing. And I felt like this made him a little bit more bolder, definitely just going as the show goes on. And yeah, he's sort of, we see him shooting his shot and being very, very light with it, in between these last couple episodes. But yeah, I can't give too much away because there is, as we see, at the end of episode 3, when Jeff steps into that bar and threatens Megan, we now know that Jeff knows that there is cap about that sex tape, and that it's not actually Isabella, that is actually Megan. And so the whole question is what is he gonna do? Is he gonna use it against them? Is he gonna go, run and snitch? But as we can see, the two girls decide to gang up and blackmail the hell out of poor Jeff. So now we need to, that's what we get left off at, Jeff goes from 0 to 100. And now we need to, that's all I'm going to say. These next couple episodes, though, is going to bring a lot of things into the limelight as far as why Jeff is the way he is now, and a little bit of what has happened between him and Megan, But
you could talk a little bit about episode 4 because this will probably come out after 4.
Okay.
And I've seen the whole thing, so I'm trying to keep track of where I am because I'm like, don't say anything.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, so yeah, you could talk a little bit about 4 because I feel like 4 is, now I'm like blurring episodes because I saw all of them. But is that the one where you're in the parking lot, or was that 3 when you guys see each other? I could be giving something. If I give it away, I'll cut myself. Okay.
I think that was 3.
Yeah, when you guys have the confrontation in the parking lot. Okay.
That's episode 3.
So yeah, so like we know like something's starting to go on, but yeah, you could talk about 4 a little bit because things start turning pretty quickly.
Things start turning fast, and that's like literally in between each episode, the dial just gets switched, like it just gets turned all the way up. But what I will say, episode 4 covers a lot of the hidden relationship that we see in between Jeff and Megan. And yeah, as you can see that, there's a love triangle going on here where Megan is definitely longing for Luke, and it's starting to clash with her also trying to be like, okay, she wants to give Isabella that open ground because she's admitted that she thinks that Luke is cute and that she has feelings for them, and they seem to be hitting it off. And then along comes Jeff, like, hey, screw that. Come get with a director. You know what I'm saying? So we really see that go into play, and we watch the love triangle crumble in episode 4. And that has a huge effect on Jeff and the way that he sees Megan and Luke and definitely Isabella as well. I feel like. So it's a lot of that in between. I want to say it really zeroes in, I feel like, in the love triangle on episode 4. That's what I'm gonna just leave it at,
Okay. Yeah, I wanted you to bring it up because this will come out after 4, and I felt like 4 was the shift. That's the episode where things kind of start changing. So I was like, he can bring that up because I think that I wanted to ask you if you felt, because I always find it interesting when I watch like journalists ask actors questions that they have no control over. Like they'll be like, did you like this line? And I'm like, he didn't read the line, or like he didn't say.
I don't remember that line.
Yeah, like so I always find it so interesting when journalists ask stuff like that. But for me, it was more of, I was wondering if, as you're reading the scripts, if you felt like Jeff was being used. And if he was like, and if you did feel that way, or if you didn't feel that way, like, what his reaction or what you put into it to make his reaction the way it was. So like, do you think that he's getting used? Do you think that she did like him? Like,
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Jeff was getting dragged along. And that was another part of it, going back to like, my own personal experience with just comparing my life to the character Jeff's, um, I felt like that was a huge, yeah, that was another place that I feel like drew from. Cause in the idea of being in a love triangle or trying to have feelings for somebody who has feelings for somebody else, or to the point where they can't really filter it or show or block it off. I've been in that position too many times.
How has this happened? You're so good looking. What are you talking about?
Oh, God, high
Crazy.
school. Let me tell you something. High school is a trip and a half. Luckily, I didn't get involved in too much stuff around high school, but not even relationships, just like little flings or kid. I can't even like consider it that. But even just that, I feel like it's something that a lot of people have been through.
We all go through it. Yeah.
We all go through it. You hang in friend bases, especially when kids are all young and horny and jumping all over the place. They just be, it'd be hard for people to put labels on things, and then emotions are just running wild. And I definitely feel like, in a way, yes, Jeff definitely was used, because you see Megan trying to, decide how she feels against Luke, and even though I feel like it's really, really, it's really distinct, you can definitely see that Luke's just kind of her person, and she sort of, I feel like, puts that, she doesn't know how to deal with the emotions, so she goes to where the attention is. She's literally looking for attention. I feel like you can see, in between Jeff, and Luke. She knows that she can't have him right now. And along comes Jeff, and he's really nice, and he's warm, and he's open, and he's not involved in any BS or any drama at the moment. So it's like, I feel like,
And
in a
he's
way,
cute. I could say that. And he's cute. Cute guy. Come on, you gotta add that in. He's cute. So she's like, why not?
So I feel like he definitely gets caught in the crossfire, and he does not take that easily. Me being a nice guy too, I was super, super nice to people, I definitely feel like I'm not as nice as I used to be, but I know how that is when you put out so much positive energy, and then you find, somebody that you're obviously into, because that's another thing I definitely can say. I don't feel like they even wrote, I think they might have taken this out of the script, but I don't even know if I can say this. But I remember
No one's listening. You can say it. It's fine.
I don't even know if I can say it, but I remember in the original script, they actually had put in the fact that Jeff had been crushing on Megan since like fourth grade or something like that.
Oh yeah,
So
like I think it's apparent that like it's been a while for.
it's been a while.
Yeah,
Like it's been
like,
a
it
long,
comes off
long
that
time.
way.
So I feel like it's a lot. It's built up over the years, and then when he gets the boot, it just hits hard. So that's definitely where we see the shift happen. I feel like coming, the shift that we don't see in episode 3, which is so drastic when we watch Jeff change masks. Episode 4 definitely really sums that up. So y'all get ready, man. It's a bumpy ride. It's gonna get even bumpier. So.
And what's funny too is, and I want to like tease a little, like, give you time to tease a little bit of what's to come. But what I find interesting is we always kind of joke like women stay together and empower each other. And what's funny is they do. I mean, they have their ups and downs, the two main characters of the show.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or not. So I wanted your take on it, because I think could be toxic. We're always like, yeah, stand up, or bros are for bros or whatever. But any of that I think could be toxic. And in this situation, I don't necessarily think what the two of them are kind of heading towards, where we're kind of tumbling, is necessarily positive. So, how did that take into like you playing Jeff, or you like looking into kind of where, as the scripts are being written, where I don't know where we're going, I can kind of make my best guesses, but these two girls are crazy. So like, how are you kind of putting that into play?
It was it's funny when I bring up that idea. Yeah, even going through, growing up my life, being around girls and just seeing, girls in my friend base grow up together, is sometimes it's besties forever. Other times it's besties who talk shit about besties behind their back, type of situation. I feel like you can definitely see, and Lexi Underwood is such a freaking beast. Shout out to Lex. She really brings that toxic friend energy just to the forefront. I mean, you can see it, you know, and it was so funny. As I was actually watching, I just got to watch episode 3 last night. If you watch with Lexi, she with Isabella, I should call her by her character name. With Isabella, she's consistently bringing up that idea every time that shit goes down, or when she has Megan's back or has to back her up for something. She's like, well, that's what ride or die means to me. So you gonna do the same? Like what, motherfucker? Like, what is this? Am I the one doing all the work? And that's really that one really sticks out to me because I've seen that, you know, in friend groups all the time where it's like, what does ride or die actually mean? Does that mean, you know, I have your back in every situation? Does that mean like if you catch a body, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut? You know, so it's like it really brings up that idea, you know, especially with this generation too, because this generation be wild. You know, we go through a lot of stuff, we experience a lot of stuff. Sometimes we get in positions, you know, us being super young and areas where we don't necessarily want to be, or get involved in situations that, you know, due to our friend bases or friend groups, you know, where we fall into a rough patch. But it was interesting to watch that because it has me like trying, you know, especially just like the first season does, you try and find like the little flaws like in each character that makes them like that. Like I remember with Megan, for an example, I was trying to find like, okay, so what's her story? And you can definitely see that, like, you know, with the drastic changes that she goes through, where she starts hacking and you know, bootlegging stuff and using her coding to just hustle and, you know, make money. And with the situation too, but it's funny, you know, with Megan, you kind of see this like, oh, so everyone thinks I'm the good kid, you know, the great smart kid is going to go on. And then Isabella brings out that, you know, I got a little bit more of a friskier side, you know, which we will see much more going throughout the season. And yeah, it was interesting to watch that play into the relationship, especially when when Jeff gets blackmailed. I was like, oh shit, these girls really really are about it, you know. And yeah, that just played into more of just like the, you know, the idea of the layers, you know, that Jeff had. And, you know, I really wanted them to, you know, that was another thing. I was worried at times too, with us doing so much writing, that things were going to get docked off, and that, you know, maybe Jeff wasn't going to have as much as the dark arc that he has as well, you know. But I love how that ties in with, you know, what the girls are doing. And yeah, it just, everything and every situation in this show and all the actors on this just push everything forward, and I felt like just really brought out the best in everybody, you know. So it's crazy, and it's gonna get so much crazier. I know I said that like 5 times, but like, you know, there's so
I
much
can
stuff that I don't
vouch.
even
It
remember.
does. It does.
There's so much stuff that I don't even remember from like this season in the episode. So I'm literally watching this like, what the heck happens in this episode? You know, I'm literally watching with the rest of the world. Like, you know, I feel like I haven't even shot the show. Like I'm just watching it, you know, and it's crazy.
Well,
So
it's so funny. And now, like, I was kind of curious with you talking about it too, you know, because I brought up like women and I said, like, listen, and I'm not just saying women, guys do this too, the bro code, right? And it's like, I'll cover your back. But it is interesting. What is ride or die? And what does that mean to you? And people use that term quite frequently. This is like a new thing. Like, you know, like when you were like younger, it was like, we're best friends forever. And that meant something. Like if you were a best friend, you
right,
were doing something for your best friend. You're not just
right.
my friend, you're my best friend, right?
Yeah, now it
But
means if
now
you
this
catch a
rider,
body, you
right,
catch a
right.
body.
Now this ride or die thing, this is something that people say quite often. So
Yeah.
like you talking about it made me think it is true. It brings up a point like, is ride or die or having somebody have your back necessarily a good thing to a point, you know, depending
Mm-hmm.
on how extreme somebody views what that means.
Yeah.
So I think it brings up the conversation of if you have a best friend and you guys were watching the show together,
Right.
you're gonna talk to, like, I have a friend and I called her like, and she's seeing that I'm ahead, right? I've seen the whole thing. She's seeing them as they're coming out. And we brought it up and I was like, girl, if you killed somebody, like I'm ratting you out.
But too
Like,
bad.
it's
You're
not
going to
that ride or
jail.
die.
You're going to Alcatraz, and you're staying there for,
Yeah,
for the rest of your life.
exactly. I'm like, listen, I'm a New Yorker. I'm not going with you to like Rikers. Like, no, we're out.
They gonna
But
give you
it
double.
but it brought up that that question of like, what does that mean? And I do think it's a conversation that people need to have, because
Absolutely.
I think with friendships there's so much expectation, and
Mm-hmm.
usually when friends fall out it's because they didn't communicate, because like,
Mm-hmm.
they're not on the same page or whatever the case is, unless somebody like, screws you over. That's a completely different story.
Oh, yeah.
But for you, I want to know, what does ride or die mean to you? And do you have a friend that's like your quote ride or die? And then did you guys
Absolutely.
discuss this? Like, what does this mean for the two of you, or what is that?
Well, that's a really good question. I do have I do have a best friend, one of my longest friends, who has been with me through thick and thin. And we've never actually had that conversation as far as what it means to be a ride or die. Because honestly, that's a term that I do not throw around, like, or a saying, I should say, that I do not throw around a lot, because of the weight that it does carry. And when I do use it, though, which I have done, I feel like on the random a couple of times, I usually mean like you know, it usually means like you're my brother and you can tell me anything, anytime that you are going through something, I will be there, in any way, shape, or form. But, that's another thing. Like, I like to think that a lot of people in my friend group come from good households, with good families and have good shoulders like on their head. They're not going out, they're not dealing with anything, where there would be a lot of weight or gossip or anything that would stain their reputation or a name. But that's the thing. You never know. People be flipping switch these days. My half of my friends could be psychopaths. Who know? But I am too. So I mean, there we go. But like, I feel like for me, ride or die means I will be there for you in any way, shape, or form. If you catch a body and you tell me, maybe I'll keep my mouth shut for as long as I can. But the moment the cops come telling me, like, yo, we know that he pulled up on you last night on 2 a.m. and gave you a whole bunch of his stuff and broke down the whole situation. Where did he go? You better run, Bucko. You better run.
You're like,
You better
and bye.
you better book them tickets to Africa, Jamaica. I don't know
You, know,
about
you
as
might
far
you
as
might give like a 5-minute warning. You're like, dude, go now.
I'm
They're
giving you
coming.
20-minute head start. I'm giving you 24 hours. Not 24 hours, 20 minutes. Get a Greyhound, get as far as you can. But and then maybe I've also considered it like for my little brother too. I have a little brother
Yeah.
that's definitely my ride or die too. If he
And
was
see,
in
and that's
some
different. Because
that is different.
I have a sibling, and it's different. Like that ride or
Mhm.
die is different. That's different. Like if my brother kills someone, I don't know. Like,
I
listen,
see shit.
yeah, but
I see it.
it's my blood. Like that's different. Like I'm probably gonna be sitting in an interrogation room. Like
Right. I'm gonna be like, damn, my brother killed
yeah, like
somebody.
I don't know anything. I don't know where he is. I have no idea what
Exactly.
happened. Like that,
Like,
that's
get
your
it out
family.
of me.
But that's what it brings up, such an interesting point. So like now probably scarring you, because you're probably going, ooh, I wonder what my friend thinks. Because what does
You
your friend
know,
die means? It's like you
that's
just
the
don't
thing.
know what someone thinks.
I feel like we have an established like agreement though, like just based off of what we've been through, which is
Yeah.
it's that's the thing. Like, I'm happy to say I don't like to think that I live a normal life, but I've been in I know friends of mine, suburban kids too. I feel like it also depends, when we talk about even the synopsis of the show, because we definitely can see that Isabella has a past in the show where she's dealt with the feds in the past. And we don't know what that is yet, but it's trailing her all the way back to where she is now in Chatham. So and even going to suburban high school, I live in New Jersey. The school where I went to, it had so many kids like from different places of the world, and kids from the inner city. Some kids were from the projects, some kids were from Brooklyn, some kids were from Paterson, New Jersey. It was a lot of different faces and a lot of different emotions. So there was a lot of crap going on, school. There was fights, there were kids bringing weapons sometimes and stuff. And it was like, and it was funny because we live in suburban neighborhood area, like white picket fences, and like, and it was interesting, me being somebody who I actually was born in Harlem, but I grew up in New Jersey. But I remember leaving Harlem because Harlem was on 10 and there was a lot of bull crap going on at the time. And my parents were like, you're not gonna grow up in this environment, which I'm very fortunate, to have parents that got me the heck out of there. But you know, kind of watching, different friends deal from different things, people coming from different households and, and have different cliques. Some kids would get involved in stuff. I remember that would hit the news, in my school, the things that were like, oh, no way. There's no way that this person, this happened to this person, and kind of watching that same thing reflect on Cruel Summer as far as it being a small town, but people bringing their own personal problems and personal past life, issues into the town. It can make everything blow up, no matter what the space or the time and place. So yeah,
Yeah, 100%. So
definitely.
basically, I totally made you have to question your ride or die.
It's great. It was a great
That's
question.
we're gonna hang up. You're gonna be like calling your friend. What does this mean to
Hey, so
you?
you ain't
Hold
killed
on.
nobody lately, right?
If something happens, yeah.
Something.
What does that mean? But it is true because, like, when you watch a show like Cruel Summer, you could easily go, "Oh, that's so crazy! Like that would never." I live in the same type of thing, but my dad was born in the Bronx, so
Mm.
I've heard all sorts of and he's in his 60s, so you could only imagine what it was year
Shout
like
out to the
years
Bronx.
ago.
We don't hate y'all, but we don't love y'all either.
But it was chaos. It was chaos, and like, I've heard all sorts of stories that, I won't get him in trouble with, but I've heard all sorts of stories.
Yeah.
When he was growing up, and it was rough, and he left too, like very young. He left as a teenager. But when you hear those kind of things, you're like, no, that's got to be like made up shit.
Right.
But it's not. And so for a show like this, I find it so relatable because I feel like if you're watching the show, and listen, people can watch this and just get enjoyment out of it. They're watching it, they have fun, it's crazy, it's dramatic, whatever. But I do think like 90% of the people that watch it are going to relate in multiple ways to it and not feel that it's that dramatic, because
Yeah,
we all have like a friend or someone that's done some crazy like
absolutely.
stuff, and you just relate, and I think you feel a little better. So like when I was watching, I felt a little better because I was like, well, at least my friend didn't go that far, or at least like he didn't go that bad. But I relate
Right.
for this reason or that reason, or I was that guy. I was
Exactly.
holding the camera, or I was the guy on the side, or I was the one that got dumped, or I was the one that was the friend screwing another friend over. Like whatever the case was, you
Yeah.
relate to it in whatever aspect it is. So I feel like it's very relatable. I think when you hear the synopsis of the show, you go, oh, like that's never gonna happen. But when you watch it, it's just so relatable.
Like,
And so like hearing your story, and then like, I'm a completely different background and I relate to it. And then like, something like where my dad, and I heard stories of him, him growing up, it shit like this happens. It happens.
happens,
So, it makes the show that much more real and that much more interesting to watch and more in depth. And bring up, like we said, those conversations. What is ride or die? What does it mean? What would you go to for your friend? How much are you willing to stand up for? Would you lie for them? Like all of these things just come up in life. If I was in that scenario, would I do that? I don't know. Like, and then you just go back and forth, and that's what it kind of brings up.
Right.
But
Right.
it's just interesting to hear it from you, and and your character I find one of the most interesting right off the bat, just because he was quiet, and they always go like, watch out for the quiet ones. So I've just been eyeing him, because I'm like, what is he doing? What is he watching? What is he upset with? Who's he going after? So it's interesting to see where he's gonna go. What can you tease? And I know it's so difficult because the show has so many things going on, but
Mm.
what can you kind of tease for what fans can sort of expect? We have, I think, so if we're going on episode 4, we have like what, 4 left, 5 left? No, that goes to 10, right? So we have like 6 left, I think, after 4. So we have a couple weeks left of, and a lot happens. I'll say this so you don't get in trouble. A lot happens in the next 6 weeks. It's very chaotic, and it's not even going to go where you think it's going, because it didn't for me. I was like, oh shit. I thought I figured it out sort of, and I figured out a few things, but I still was like,
Skirts
that, yeah, like the last episode, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
So,
me too. I don't know what happens. That's another thing too. A lot of people talk about. I think it was asked too during the premiere. I think somebody asked Jessica Biel, like if people know how the show concludes, and I think there's like only 2 people in the cast that knows how this show concludes, like all the way through. I have no
really?
idea how this ends. Yes.
Well, how did they do that? So like, so when you're saying Jessica Biel, she was an EP on the show.
Right.
And so when you're getting scripts, they just weren't giving you full scripts.
They just weren't given full screen. And we got up to the last episode, and it literally had like noted like the outcome of this show is being held only for a couple of people.
Oh yeah, I hate that. I've seen
I
that,
was
by the
like,
way. Like, so yeah, like I've seen this before on other shows, like on like Lost or Manifest, where for people that are listening, you guys get these scripts. It'll be paper form. Sometimes it's via email. It has their watermark, their name on it, all the fun stuff so that you guys can share it with the world. And
yeah,
as you're flipping through and you're reading your character, you'll get to a page where it will say something like, act like, whatever. Act 42 has been removed, for, and then they give you for whatever reason, like, has been removed, will be filmed at a later date, or your
yeah.
character's not related to the scene, and like, and it's just missing, like it's just not in there, and then like, and then
Listen,
you flip through and then there'll be more stuff, and so you just have no idea what that page is. And there's been many shows where like I was like on set or something and I saw that and I was like, who's in this, and who, and people really don't know, like it's just they're filming something, and a lot of times they'll do it when you're all filming, so like nobody really knows what they're off on, like second unit, like filming or doing on the
ah,
side. I've seen all
yeah,
this kind of like sneaky stuff with the call sheet. So it's like
that's
you can't even look
crazy.
at the call sheet and kind of figure out who it was. Or
Yeah,
so for this show, it sounds like that tactic was used. It was like, let's eliminate what we don't need them to know, kind of thing.
yeah, definitely, definitely. We were completely in the dark, So it's gonna be a smack in the face for everybody, when it does hit the fan. But yeah, one thing I can definitely tease is there's gonna be new faces that step into the picture too. The tree doesn't stop here at just this crowd. There's gonna be a lot of new characters that kind of hit the scene as well, or a couple, I should say, and play into where the storyline is going, and also create drastic changes in a lot of these characters, as well, going forward. So there's a lot of juicy tea, especially on Isabella's part, as far as what her past consists of. So I feel like I'm gonna excited for the audience to see that and start, building those blocks together. I'm also really excited for them to see this next episode too, because
Me too.
Twitter is flaming Jeff right now. Y'all will not let up on me. Like, Twitter is barbecuing Jeff. There's like, Jeff, like, what the hell, bro? Like, why are you doing this? But I feel like episode 4 is gonna clear some stuff up. So
You're like, please come out so people leave
I'm
me alone.
like, y'all relax. Jeez. I was laughing my ass off the other day reading some of the
What
tweets of
are
the
what are people saying right now? Like, what are they coming at you for? Because
You're
you're getting
like, Jeff is such
involved?
a loser, bro.
No,
because I,
because they think because he's not realizing that she's looking at somebody else.
exactly. They don't know the cause and effects
Gotcha.
yet, of the situation.
Oh, for Jeff.
What did somebody say? Somebody said something that took me out. Somebody was like, "Yo, Jeff says he knows his girl because Jeff, if y'all know episode 3, Jeff was like, I know that laugh anywhere. That lie wasn't getting past Jeff. Jeff. So it definitely shows you too how deep Jeff's crush goes for Megan as well. So that's definitely already showing how deep Jeff kind of was into his feels for Megan. But oh man, it's just gonna get so much crazier. I'm super happy too that another thing that I just want to note, like how the show talks about the foundation of a household too, and talks about the relationship that we have with our parents, because in the first season does such a good job of that too, because parents be going through it too, with the situations we see Megan's mother going through, and Isabella not even really being able to call her folks and have a genuine conversation and being really disconnected from them. So I feel like that's another big conversation that this show raises, and also we're going to see going forward as far as the household environment tying into how these kids fan out and end up where they are. So yeah, man, if you get the edge of your seats, get your popcorn because it's gonna get crazy. And I'm super excited to see the rest of this. I'm watching it with everybody. So
And
yeah.
that's so funny. So I agree with you. I do think it's very interesting about the parents, Luke and all of that stuff too. I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
of parents, and some of these parents are not making good decisions either. And I think, and again, it just shows we're all human, you can't be perfect.
All human.
But
Mhm.
it's very interesting to see the dynamics. But I'm kind of excited for you to see the finale because so you have like as of right now you still have no idea honestly
I've
how.
not seen anything. I didn't even get. I remember. I think I
I mean,
had.
you know, like whatever you filmed for that episode, but you just don't know like the last like 4 minutes or like whatever they put together.
Yeah,
Pieced
yeah.
together.
I do not remember. It's so funny because my memory is so scattered of what actually happens in this season. Because there's so much
There's
stuff,
so much. Yeah, it's hard.
so
It's
much
hard.
stuff like involving the cat. Each character like has something that's going on that plays into the storyboard. So I'm like, I almost like am wondering how does Jeff fan out the rest of the show? Like what does, and I'm so happy that I got to that point too, because it doesn't have me like, oh yeah, during each
Yeah.
episode. But so it feels like, when I sit down and watch with my family that I'm like completely in the dark, just like they are, you know. But and I even got the chance too, I'm pretty sure, to watch some of the screenings. Like I think I could have actually watched the first season like pretty much all the way through like beforehand, but I chose not to. I was like, nope, I just want to be able to sit down and watch this and be as surprised as I was when I was shooting this season. So yeah, man, I have no idea what's going on, but we gonna find out very soon.
It's like it's so fun, and it's actually kind of cool that you know whatever meaning like
Mm-hmm.
you film, but you just don't know like how it all like kind of pans out and gets put together. So that's like kind of cool to kind of watch it with everybody. But I have to say, you did a fantastic job. I love this show. And that's why for me, and even earlier, I was like, it blurs because like there's so much that happens. So that's why I was like, was it this episode, that episode? And also, it's very difficult. I always joke with everyone that I understand sort of like very light what it feels like to be an actor, because when I see these episodes early, it's kind of like when you guys get scripts. I can't tell anybody. I can't talk to anybody about it.
Right.
I can't go on Twitter, do anything about it. So it's like I have to wait till they start airing, and I saw the whole thing like weeks ago. So I'm like waiting and watching. So I could just make the message, y'all, leave Jeff alone. Give him a break. Give him like light up on Twitter.
Y'all heard her.
Give him a little break.
Relax.
It gets crazy. It gets even worse and crazy, and not necessarily Jeff. So just give him a
I
little,
mean, just give
little
it a
break.
break. Just pay attention to the dimples. Dimples in the no,
Pay attention to the cute guy with the camera. Leave him alone.
There's like one person on my Instagram profile, like all that under all that madness, that was like, it's the dimples for me every time. I was like, thanks, thank you. Yes, we got one.
Yeah, they're like, he's so cute. Just leave him alone. That's so funny that Twitter responds that way, because when I watched it, I didn't respond that way at all. I had the opposite. Like I like felt for Jeff, and I felt terrible for him. Like, so I had a complete different response. So it's interesting. That's what people are saying.
It's so
Let
funny.
Jeff.
I don't even use Twitter like that. I just got Twitter for Cruel Summer specifically to like read these conversation boards, and it's killing me. It's so funny. It's funny as hell, man.
We get invested. It's a very easy show to get invested in because it's so dramatic. But hey, listen, you're doing something right if they're talking about you one way or the other. So super excited for you. It's such a great show. You're such a great person. Before we kind of wrap up, so obviously people can catch Cruel Summer. It's on Freeform. I will put all the information below. So if you're watching this, it's below us. And if you're listening, it's right there when you click on it in the description. So all the information's there, where to watch it, episodes, times, all of that fun stuff. But before we go, you mentioned you're a dancer and a musician. So is there anything that you're working on or anything that you can talk about that you could tease? Because now that the show is done filming, what are you doing? So you're auditioning, and then what's going on with all the music and all the other stuff? Because I want to know.
So sheesh, there's a lot of stuff going on. As far as what I can tease, well, for one, I make music by an alias. I go by MB Talented. That's MB Talented, all caps, no spaces. And I drop music on all streaming platforms. So that's definitely something that I've been investing a lot of time into, right next to acting. Music is a huge, huge, huge passion for me. So yeah, this summer I've just been trying to drop music like crazy. So I got a lot of music videos on the way. I just dropped a single called Chloe on SoundCloud, which is doing pretty well right now, and it was lots and lots of fun to record. So definitely everyone should go check that out at MB Talented on SoundCloud. And yeah, other than that, we just making art. I don't know what's gonna come out next, but definitely tune in with the music. and look out for music videos too, and whatever project comes up next, because we got stuff on the way, most definitely.
Okay, so they'll have to check you out. I'm a little jealous there's not a song named Monica. I'll let it go.
Don't
Okay.
worry, I'll
You
work
didn't
on
know me
that.
yet, so it's okay.
I get
Let it
to work after the live. It's okay. We
go.
gonna get on it. We're gonna get on it.
I'll let it go because you didn't know me yet, but I'll look for that. But yeah, so we could follow you on SoundCloud. No, that's super awesome though. I think you're really cool. Like that's so like it's so interesting how the brain works, and you're so talented to be able to do all of those kind of things. So yeah, so everyone go listen to your music. That's so exciting. I'm definitely gonna go check it out and trying to get jealous that it's named Chloe and not after Monica. And I'll listen to your other songs too. But that's awesome. So you're working on that, you're dancing, or teaching, and also teaching. You said you're teaching dancing too.
I
So you're
teach dance on the
dancing,
side.
teaching. So you're like
Yeah.
doing it all and auditioning, and you're going live or tweeting or at least watching people and their reactions as Cruel Summer airs every single week. So you
Yes,
just have
ma'am.
a few things going on. That's all.
Yeah, just a couple. My brain is completely centered. I promise y'all, I'm doing great.
Well, you look really good. Your background looks amazing.
Thank
And
you.
like I said, it's been such a joy like getting to know you, because I
You
always
too.
like, you watch like the shows, and obviously I know the actors are not how they are portrayed. Obviously, I've been doing this a long time, but when you meet someone, sometimes it's not like as fun.
I know. I feel you.
So when you meet you, I was like, oh my God, he's so cool and so fun. So this is great. So I just think when people listen to it and get to hear you and listen to your music and just hear you talk about your character and how much you like put into it, all the hard work and all the stuff and all the things you thought about, and then as they see it come together, come back or re-listen to this again, like after you've seen the whole show, and like you'll start to understand some of the stuff you kind of like slipped in there and said, and you put in a lot of work and it shows, and you did such a good job. And I just want to say congratulations. And I can't wait to hear the next show that you're on or the next movie. I
Absolutely.
wanted like we need like a 10-year thing. So enough of like this 2 episode with Power. Like I want more stuff.
We need seasonals. Come on,
Yeah.
y'all.
Like Power
Keep it
Book,
coming.
bring him back if you
Y'all
can. That would
heard
be great. Like
Monica.
I would love that. So can we make that happen? That would be
Revive D
bring him back.
That'd be
But
great.
we bring back
I
you.
gotta say too, this has been the best Zoom interview I've had so far. Like I'm
Oh, I'm so
absolutely
glad.
serious. I've had so much fun talking to you. So thank you for having me. This was so much fun. For real,
Well,
for
I
real.
had so much fun talking to you. I love you. So I'm going to follow you on Twitter. I always like ask everybody because now you can't ever tell who's who, but I'm going to follow you on Twitter because now I know it's you.
Get more
And
active on
then
there.
we'll have to be besties on social now. But
Absolutely.
I just adore you. So just keep me updated with everything that you're doing. We'll tell everybody. We'll pass it around. And like I said, listen to his music, follow everything so you'll be updated on SoundCloud. You can get notifications. So sign up, subscribe, follow him so you'll get all of the updates on there. And then watch Cruel Summer and check him out. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you so much for having me.
You're such a pleasure, and you're just adorable. You're so cute. So I'm so happy you came on. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Y'all have a great one.
All right, bye. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to Nile Bullock talk about what it was like being on Cruel Summer and giving us some hints for some upcoming episodes. Cruel Summer Season 2 will premiere its first 2 episodes on June 5th on Freeform at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with new episodes airing every week. So make sure you head over to Freeform to check it out. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you're updated on all of our latest podcasts, and head over to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe so you're updated on all of our video content.